the spring equinox, but also needed to align with biblical precedent and, ideally, not conflict with Jewish Passover. So they turned to astronomy, but the stars wouldn't cooperate. Take Bede, the Venerable, an Anglo-Saxon monk writing in the early 8th century. He tried to wrangle history and astronomy into agreement. And in doing so, he hinted, though perhaps without meaning to, that time wasn't aligning quite right. His Easter tables don't match up. Later, scribes rework his math. Then, Gregorian reformers, 800 years later, declare that 10 whole days must be skipped to get the calendar back in sync with the seasons. That's how far we'd drifted. But wait, if the Julian calendar was slipping that badly, shouldn't there be more than 10 days difference after 1600 years? By that logic, we're missing centuries. One modern critic of the timeline, Heribert Illig, the man who formalized the phantom time hypothesis, pointed to that exact discrepancy. He asked, if Rome started counting in 45 BC, and the Julian calendar loses roughly 1 day every 128 years, then by 1582, when Pope Gregory fixed things, we should be 13 days off. But we were only 10. Where did those extra 3 days, those 300 years go? You feel the chill now. It's not the math. It's the implications. Because what if time itself was corrected only for the years that actually happened? What if the calendar hadn't drifted as far as it should have, because those phantom years had never ticked by in the first place? Now that's a bedtime whisper. No one wants to say aloud. Still, it's easy to doubt. Surely, astronomy would betray a missing chunk of time. Right eclipses, especially, are meticulously predictable, and ancient Chinese astronomers recorded them with startling accuracy. So, we should be able to map their observations onto modern star charts and confirm everything. Except, we can't, not perfectly. Some eclipses appear slightly off in the record. Timings don't align. Trajectories don't match. Astronomers brush it off as scribal error, bad translations, or variations in Earth's rotation. But you begin to wonder, what if it's not the stars that moved? What if it's the years? And this is where the Easter tables come back to haunt us. They were one of the earliest and most carefully maintained tools for calculating time across Christendom. Entire generations of scribes were trained to extrapolate backward and forward, tracing a long, looping line of sacred dates. But many early tables simply skip over certain years. Others compress centuries into decades. The chaos isn't random, it's patterned, like someone reassembling a shattered vase and realizing too late that one piece belongs to a different set entirely. And the oddities don't stop there. Monks in the early Middle Ages often referenced the Anno Domini dating system in the year of our Lord, but it wasn't widely adopted until centuries after Christ's supposed birth. And even then, there were disagreements about what year Jesus had actually been born. Some early chroniclers thought it was 2 BC. Others placed it at 4 AD. A few daring voices even pushed for 7 BC. It's almost as if no one really knew. Or worse, no one really cared. Until someone decided they needed to nail it down. Because order creates authority, and authority writes the timeline. So perhaps the real question isn't, what year is it, but who benefits from deciding what year it is? Imagine a medieval court. A king leans on his throne, flanked by priests. They present him with a scroll. declaring the 1,000th year since the birth of Christ. The room stirs. People gasp. What an honor. What a responsibility. He nods solemnly, though he has no more idea than his subjects what year it truly is. But from then on, it is written. And if someone 100 years later says, "Wait, that seems off," well, good luck challenging the official record, especially when that record has already been carved into churches, stitched into banners, and sung from pulpits. You glance at your own watch now. The soft green digits glow. It reads a precise hour and minute, numbers you've never once questioned. But the monks did. The popes did. Even the sun, rising where it always has, seems indifferent to what humans scribble in ledgers. Calendars were once political weapons, tools for empires and religions to measure not just time, but obedience. Still, something deeper nags at you. It's the quiet idea that maybe time doesn't just drift. Maybe it delays. Maybe humanity has been waking up from a long sleep, slowly piecing together its place in the cosmos. And somewhere in that fog, someone took liberties with the numbers, not out of malice, but out of ambition. And maybe, just maybe, that's the most human thing of all.